I thought for a hot minute about whether or not I should do this video. I concluded that I'm just gonna do it. What do I have to lose except subscribers, respect, which both go along with, I guess, money, but it's really not that deep, you know? I keep a list in my phone, okay? Actually, I keep about 7 different lists, no joke. But the list that I'm going to tackle today, I'm kind of upset with myself because probably 2 weeks ago, I deleted this list from my phone because I was like, I don't know why I'm keeping this. I'm not doing anything with it. I'm just adding to it. What it is a list of, I mean, I don't really know. It's just a list of weird thoughts that I've had, ideas, mostly just like
thoughts,
funny experiences that happen throughout my day that kind of lead to thoughts. Sometimes I'll randomly unlock a memory from my childhood. I can't be the only one that does this.
Beep boo boo beep.
I mean, I could be.
Beep boo 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 bop.
Like there's a, I mean, that's possible. Today I'm going to go through this list and I'm going to explain, or try to remember some of the brilliant ideas I've had, memories I've unlocked, or stupid things I've done. Are you getting the idea of what this list is yet?
Thoughts.
I've been doing this for years. So this way I feel like I'm taking a weird list and turning it into something that is productive. And maybe this will inspire you. I feel like I can't preface this video in any way, and I just spent like 20 minutes trying to, and I feel like I just have to get into it. The first thing I have on my list, this is kind of an experience that I had with myself, so I wrote it down. Have you ever like, how do I explain this? You know when you look at a word, either like you're reading in a book, you see a sign, and it's a common word. You've used this word, you know this word. It's not like you're a 5-year-old and you look up and see a sign and it says accoutrements, and you're like, it's not like that. It's a word that you know, okay? You see one of those words, and for whatever reason, maybe because there's no context around it, maybe it's just like a single word, I have to just use an example. So when I was 14, don't ask me why I still remember this, and it was 10 years ago. I was walking home from high school with my best friend at the time, and we passed this sign, and it just said spas. And there was this warehouse, I guess, that had a bunch of the hot tubs that you can buy and just like put in your backyard. And I see the sign that says spas, and I look at it and I'm like, what's spas? And my best friend's like, spas? And I was like, what? And it's not because I didn't know the freaking word spas. Obviously it's a plural of spa, but it was one of those things where the sign only said spas, and I looked at it and I was like, spas. Like, you know how to pronounce it, but for whatever reason, you know what? I really hope I'm not the only one that does this. To be fair, it doesn't happen often to me. In fact, for some reason, that's the last time I remember this happening, because this happened probably 2 days ago. I had parked and I was walking to go to an apartment that I was gonna view. I was by myself and I see a sign stapled or taped or whatever to like a telephone post. You know how people just like staple signs all over. And it's a poster. God, how do I even, this is, I knew I was gonna have a hard time explaining this. Maybe I should create like a mock-up of this poster. I see the sign. I'm like, oh my gosh, what's a live-in concert? You know how like, how do I explain this? There's such a thing as like a live-in nanny, or a live-in housekeeper, live-in maid, live-in butler, live-in assistant. You get paid and you also get to stay there rent-free. Now that you know what that is, even though you all probably did, I guess that was my mindset. Obviously, okay, obviously the poster said live in concert. Because no shit. But I thought, what's a live-in concert? Is that where like you can literally pay a band to come live with you and play for you, but then they also live with you? Like, all of this stuff went through my mind in like the span of, no joke, like 1 second. And then it hit me. It's live in concert, bitch. So that happened and I laughed out loud at myself while walking outside around many people in LA. But what's worse about this situation is that night, late that night, okay, I'm cutting myself some slack because it was like around midnight. I was on Craigslist because I was looking at like the housing section, which is so weird because I hadn't been looking on Craigslist up until this night. Anyway, and I see a listing and it's titled Live-in Apartment Manager. No joke, I didn't even think like, haha, live-in apartment manager, like remember what happened earlier today? Self? No, I looked at that and I read it in my head as live in apartment manager. Is this a play? What's going on here? Again, for like a second, and then I was like, oh my god, I need to go to bed. But also like, am I okay? In the same day, I made the same mistake, but like flip-flopped. I think live-in concert is like just so funny. You guys are like, that's Let me know if that's ever happened to you, where you look at a word and you just totally like say it wrong in your head, and then once you realize that you were saying it wrong, you start looking at that word and then you're like. But now whenever I see a sign that says spas, I always think Spaz.
thoughts,
They're not all gonna take this long to explain. I just didn't know how to explain that one. This next one is just like a thought that came to me.
thoughts,
Or a question, I guess you could say. Why do they call it tuna fish? And I know it's sometimes just called tuna, but like tuna fish. But you don't say bacon mammal or, because it's a type of fish, right? Chicken bird, beef mammal, crab shellfish. How come it's only with tuna fish? You don't say salmon fish. But what's like a type of like turkey bird, chicken bird, or would it be chicken poultry? No, it would be bird. How come it's only with tuna fish? Does anyone know is there an answer to that? Or is it just one of those things that like one time in the 1700s some guy said, I want a tuna fish sandwich? And then like from then on it just kind of caught on, like one of those things. This came to me earlier today actually while I was on the toilet. I had my laptop on top of me actually. Straight up I would tell you if I was pooping. I wasn't even pooping. I just like had peed and then I was just like sitting there for like a good 20 minutes afterwards, you know? Which by the way is really scary to me. I feel like, have you ever seen those videos where like snakes come out of the... Oh, okay. I was on a website that I use to like communicate with brands if I'm doing a sponsorship. I was on that website and I was like messaging a brand back. At like the top of my profile it kind of lists all of your social media stats and engagement and all that stuff. It says like combined reach. I was looking at that and my immediate thought was like, if every subscriber or follower, my combined audience, which I think is bullshit because there's definitely some overlap there, but I digress. Like when people have like 3 million subscribers and then they also have 2.5 million followers on Instagram, they're like,
I have a combined 5.5 million following.
no. But I thought, damn,
thoughts,
if every one of these people gave me $1, I would make over 100K. Like, only $1. Why are y'all being so selfish? Every single one of you watching this right now, if you're watching this, you have to do it, otherwise you'll have bad luck for 7 years. Send me $1. It makes sense to me now how when people like sell an ebook or like something really cheap that you don't have to put money into making like a product, they sell it for like $1.99.
thoughts,
I'm just saying, y'all need to send me money is what I'm saying. I didn't want to spend too long talking about each one of these things, but the backstory of this one is pretty weird. A couple nights ago, I woke up from a dream that I was having, and in this dream, one of the things in the dream was my dad using his like nasal spray, the stuff that you like, and I woke up from that dream, and my immediate thought was, I need to do a prank. I don't know if I thought I need to do a prank or it would be funny if you replaced someone's nasal spray with the liquid that they put into like Ready Whip, because you know there's not just a bunch of foam in that can, like
bee boo boo bee,
there's like sorcery that happens at the tip of a whipped cream can, you know? The gas makes it puffy.
Science.
me when I'm bloated. What if you put that into someone's nasal spray and then they used it and they just completely snorted Ready Whip? I'm sorry, but that's like the funniest thing ever. Honestly, if you were, I mean, now that we're talking about it, now that you brought it up, if you replaced nasal spray with anything other than nasal spray, it would be pretty funny, because when you snort things, moving on to the next one, what happens if someone who doesn't have arms, even someone that doesn't have one arm, they do something dangerous and you have to arrest them and you have to handcuff them? Like, how do you handcuff someone who doesn't have arms or just has one arm? Do you do the arm to the leg? What if they don't have any arms? Do you just handcuff their legs? That doesn't seem very efficient, because this one, I don't think I like invented on my own, right? But I also can't remember a time where this was like told to me or someone said it. I mean, I feel like that's how it is with everything though, like what's original anymore, you know? This thought came to me a couple weeks ago when I got a pizza. I had like a whole ass vegan pizza. It was delicious. This thought came to me, and so I'm sure this isn't an original thought, but I don't remember a time that someone told this to me. Why do they typically make pizzas round, but then you cut it into triangles,
but then the box is a square?
and then like there's a little round table that's also a circle? Usually, I think sometimes they have triangle pizza boxes for just a pizza slice. That makes sense. A deep dish pizza or whatever, like the square pizzas, square box still. Have you ever seen a circular pizza box? I don't think so. Have you ever seen a whole pizza that's a triangle that you cut into triangles in a triangular shaped box?
No.
I mean, granted, it would be pretty weird to cut a pizza into like circles. That'd be difficult and probably pretty wasteful. And like, I get it. It makes the most sense. It's the most functional. Maybe. Or maybe that's just all we've ever done. Wendy's? Why do they make square patties? That seems like a lot of... I'm just gonna stop it with the pizza. This next thought, or realization rather, I had again about a week ago as I was sitting in a restaurant, a little cafe. We had just given our order to the waiter. It was pretty busy. It was downtown LA. About like 25 minutes go by and we haven't even gotten our drinks yet, which is fine. Like, this isn't gonna be me complaining, but I was like, damn, like, where's our waiter, you know? And as I said that, in my head I realized I am the waiter. That bitch isn't waiting for anything. I am. Okay, this one I actually did think of in the shower, but it's because I was listening to a podcast. I just happened to be in the shower. And one of the people in the podcast was like, oh, isn't it true that like you swallow 7 spiders a year or whatever, like in your sleep or something? Like on average, everyone swallows like 7 spiders a year. Or is it like in your lifetime? I don't know. And immediately, I get emotional. Not in like a freaked out like heebie-jeebies way. I get emotional, I get sad, guilty. And my question to myself and to you, maybe, can you actually call yourself vegan?
If every year I'm eating 7 spiders?
That's not that. I mean, like, you could argue that the spider crawls down your throat probably, or at least into your mouth, and then you swallow it as a reflex. But he didn't know what he didn't know what he was doing. He just thought he was hanging out. It's not like he was consenting to being eaten. Yeah, I'm being like over dramatic and sarcastic when I say, can you call yourself a vegan? Obviously, it's not like I'm going out of my way to freaking pluck spiders from their natural habitat and eat them. But it is interesting to think about. I hate the fact that I was told that when I was little, and I feel like we all were told that. It's one of those things that you're told by like, I don't even know who is the person going around telling all of us kids that if you swallow a watermelon seed, it'll turn into a watermelon in your belly. You swallow gum, it stays in you for 7 years. Is that where I got the 7 from? How many spiders do they say that you swallow? The idea that spiders crawl into people's mouths while they sleep, let alone that you swallow a certain number of spiders a year, 5, 8, 10, is a myth. Many of the species that often live in houses, like long-bodied cellar spiders and hackle-mesh weavers, I genuinely did not need to know that information. The exception is typically males who are ready to mate. This is just one of those things that like you really just, ignorance is so bliss. I mean, I sleep on my face or like on my stomach with my head turned to the side. Seems pretty likely for me because I'm not like on my back, but I don't sleep with my mouth open. Do most people sleep with their mouths open? Honestly, I should do a whole ass video on things that my dad told me or like my sisters told me. As a kid, I started sharing this information with my friends and they would be like, babies don't come out of your butthole. My dad told me that our family fish ran away. It's weird because I didn't think about that until pretty recently, like within the last couple years, and I was like, I just took that answer at face value at like 10 years old. My fucking beta fish ran away. Oh, okay. I'm gonna end it with this one. I actually didn't write this down, but I thought about this a couple days ago. And I was like, okay, that's kind of terrifying. And I shut that thought down real quick, but I've been listening to and watching a lot of like true crime stuff lately. And so like my dreams have been real fucked up and my thoughts have been real fucked up. It's a great time. I was thinking, oh my gosh, it's actually kind of terrifying to think that like, I don't even want to say this because I don't want to give murderers like any ideas. Imagine going to a theme park, probably not Disneyland, but like Six Flags, Great America. If you hurt someone or killed someone or did something bad to someone at a place like that, I feel like, I mean, there's probably cameras, right? I'm sure there's cameras. If they were like screaming, ugh, I have chills. If they were to scream and like struggle, it's not like anyone would really come running because you're at an amusement park with scary roller coasters. I don't even want to put that one out there, but I just thought of it. I was like, damn, people be screaming their heads off at amusement parks. Prime location. Anyway, she looks so cute. But yeah, okay, thank you for watching. Let me know if you would like me to continue doing these every once in a while. Maybe once a month I go through my list and I pick some of the best ones. I will make sure, I mean, if you guys like this, that is. If no one gives a fuck about this, I'm not trying, this isn't a torture channel unless you're into that. Subscribe. So cute. Oh my gosh.